Hello everyone, and welcome back to Game Domain, and to the video we've been wanting to make for a long time. On this channel, we have more than a few incredibly controversial videos, ones that make you guys yell at us in the comments, like our Ranking the Zelda Games video, or our Ranking the Pokemon Games video, or our Top 10 Nintendo Games of All Time video. But in comparison to the hate we got for those videos, this one's gonna top all three of those combined. It's going to be so controversial, it'll make you comment Wind Waker 15,000 times, just like you all did on the Ranking the Zelda Games video. And yes, you can tell from the thumbnail and the title, this video is going to be our ranking of the top 15 Nintendo franchises. Yes, you heard that right. Hence why we are dubbing this video as the Ultimate Ranking. Today we are diving into how the top 15 Nintendo franchises all stack up against each other. Now, everybody has their own opinion, and we are all entitled to our own opinion, which means that this video is completely our opinion. Now let's get into the criteria that these franchises had to meet in order to be considered. In order to be considered for this ultimate ranking, a franchise had to have sold at least 5 million copies total worldwide. Just to put it into perspective, there are approximately 25 Nintendo franchises who have reached this mark, and today we are going to be ranking 15 of them. These 15 franchises are what we have deemed as the best of the best when it comes to Nintendo's domain of entities, and we are judging these games strictly on the greatness of their individual titles. This list has nothing to do with popularity, impact on pop culture, fandom, or merchandising, but rather strictly on the individual greatness of the games in a respective franchise. And before we get into the real list, we're just going to list off a few honorable mentions. Here are some of the honorable mentions that just missed out on being on the list. Game & Watch, Wario, and F-Zero. Now, there are also a few great Nintendo franchises that would have competed for a spot on the list if they had more than 5 million copies sold. These franchises are Kid Icarus, Earthbound, Xenoblade Chronicles, and Chibi Robo. All of these franchises that we listed as honorable mentions are fantastic series that have impacted the lives of millions of Nintendo fans. But they just either didn't make the criteria for the list, or just didn't deserve to be in our top 15, in our opinion. So, with that being said, let's get into the ranking. The Ultimate Ranking. 15. Splatoon. Coming in at the tail end of the ranking is actually the newest franchise on this entire list, and the newest of Nintendo's big breakthrough series. Splatoon burst onto the scene in 2015 with its first release on the Wii U. Splatoon quickly grabbed the hearts of die-hard Nintendo fans, and became an instant hit among the gaming community. Splatoon, being a third-person shooter, was a different take on what Nintendo fans were used to. Although some of them contained underlying dark aspects that can't be seen on the surface, like the fact Pokemon is essentially slavery, Nintendo franchises have always been joyful titles with little to no violence, appealing to younger audiences. So when fans heard about this title being a shooter, it made them uneasy about what was to come. But little did they know, Splatoon was all about fun, as the shooting aspect of it revolved around shooting different colored ink. This made fans intrigued, and they instantly became hooked onto the series. Splatoon followed up its success with the launch of Splatoon 2 for the Nintendo Switch, which more than doubled its popularity, and was overall a much better game. The Splatoon series is one that brings along tons of fun for fans of all ages to enjoy, along with one of the most well-done multiplayers in all of Nintendo games. Something Nintendo is known not to be the best at. While fairly new to the gaming scene, its young age couldn't stop Splatoon from finding a spot on this ranking, finding itself as our 15th ranked Nintendo franchise. 14. Donkey Kong. Wow, we thought we were going to get crap for putting Splatoon so low, but this one is probably going to get a lot more angry comments. The oldest of all the franchises on our list, this series is widely misconceived among the Nintendo community. Everyone looks at the lovable Mario as Nintendo's baby of sorts, their child, if you will. But most casual fans don't even know where Mario got his start, in the form of an appearance in a game named after an evil ape-like villain trying to stop Mario from, well, saving a princess. I mean, let's be honest, what else does the guy do? Donkey Kong gave birth to the great Mario, as well as spawned a great series of its own that gave us plenty more awesome characters and stories to be a part of. Donkey Kong was Nintendo's flagship title upon its release, but would quickly become overshadowed by Super Mario's burst onto the gaming scene a few years later. Donkey Kong quickly began to fall out of the spotlight for Nintendo, as all of their other major franchises released and jumped right over Donkey Kong in popularity. But that doesn't take away from the fact that the Donkey Kong games are incredibly well crafted and fun to play. Like we said, this list is based on how good the games in the franchise are, and Donkey Kong competes right up there with the rest of Nintendo's bigger entities. The series has spawned a slew of releases since its inception, and it is safe to say that the quality has tailed off in recent years, and the series rebounded with the release of Tropical Freeze. Tropical Freeze is widely regarded as one of the best titles in the series, and its port to the Nintendo Switch certainly helped grow its popularity among not only Donkey Kong fans, but Nintendo fans of all kinds. What started as a breakthrough arcade game that kids would beg their parents to play every time they were near an arcade has now turned into a formidable platform series, as it finds its way to being our 14th ranked Nintendo franchise. 13. Wii Series. Ah, I can hear it in my head now. The beautiful Wii Sports theme. The Wii Series is actually the third best-selling entity of Nintendo, bringing Nintendo over 200 million sales. The Wii Series entails the Wii Sports Series, Wii Play, the Wii Fit Series, Wii Music, and so much more. Wii Sports is the pinnacle of the Wii Series, and is really what makes up most of the series' greatness. A fantastic and fun introduction to the Wii's motion controls. Wii Sports gave us a brand new look at what the Wii is capable of. The Wii truly was a one-of-a-kind console when it first released, and Wii Sports was the game that kicked off the Wii's popularity due to how groundbreaking the motion controls were to the gaming community at the time. The Wii Series also brought us other great titles, like Wii Fit, a game that didn't actually get anybody in shape or help them exercise, but did give us a Smash Fighter. Yeah, is Wii Fit Trainer really all that worth it? I mean, I guess? We also got the infamous and legendary Wii Tanks, which delighted all of our little 10-year-old hearts back in the day. A competitive strategy game that didn't really require much intelligence, but rather pure luck. Hence why us 10-year-olds found so much fun in the game. And yes, of course, the greatest game in the Wii series. And no, this isn't just because this game appeared as an honorable mention in Jason's top 10 favorite games video, but rather because Wii Sports Resort is just so awesome. You can do everything from fencing on a platform over a massive 500-foot fall down to the ocean, cycle through a volcano that can erupt at any minute, and fly a plane low through the mountains and next to buildings in the town. I mean, what fun! And who can forget the legendary Matt, always kicking everybody's ass in basketball or fencing. The Wii series was always a big-time seller for Nintendo and gave us a massive lineup of fun games. That helped to make our experience on the Nintendo Wii just that much more enjoyable. 12. Yoshi. I don't know what's more annoying. Jigglypuff's rollout attack in Smash after she charges up into a little ball, or Yoshi's egg. To be honest, Yoshi's egg might just have to take home the trophy for that one, as well as take home the number 12 spot on our ranking of the Nintendo franchises. Yeah, that's right. Of course we know Yoshi is technically part of the Super Mario entity, but Yoshi has been able to hold his own in a slew of formidable titles under the Yoshi domain. Yoshi's first solo release came out just 1 year after his first cameo in 1990's Super Mario World for the SNES, in the form of Yoshi on the NES and Game Boy. This brand new title gave us an all-new and personal look at the lovable green... Hold on one second. Hey guys! What is Yoshi? A dinosaur thing? You sure? Just go with it? Okay, I mean, it's your script, so whatever. This lovable green dinosaur that lets you ride around on him. The Yoshi series is yet another spin-off of Super Mario, as it presents another cool yet kind of repetitive platforming formula that has gotten just a bit stale as of late. Don't get us wrong, the early titles in the Yoshi series were absolutely fantastic, but the more recent entries have been kind of lackluster to say the least. Yoshi's Island is arguably a top 20, maybe top 15 Nintendo game of all time, and that game alone helped to find the Yoshi series this spot on our ranking. The latest entry in the series, Yoshi's Crafted World, had some flaws upon release, even though the game was delayed after some production issues. This game was by no means bad, but really had nothing that made it so special that people should go to the stores and grab it off the shelves on release day. The series as a whole has tailed off significantly, but no modern flaws can erase the greatness of earlier titles like Yoshi's Island, which is why we have the Yoshi series as the 12th ranked Nintendo franchise. 11. Luigi. Who else could be the most successful of all the Super Mario spin-offs than Mario's brother himself, Luigi? Luigi has always been overshadowed by his more famous brother, but the green-clothed icon certainly has a strong repertoire of games himself. Now, we're going to be honest, there aren't really any major memorable Luigi titles other than New Super Luigi U, and of course the legendary Luigi's Mansion series. So we really are only going to be talking about those two. Luigi's Mansion is arguably one of Nintendo's most popular series, and deservedly so, as the games are just true gaming masterpieces. The original Luigi's Mansion was groundbreaking when it came out for the Nintendo GameCube, giving fans an amazing yet horrifying experience at the same time. Nintendo took a big risk when delving into the Luigi's Mansion series, and it certainly paid off pretty well in the end. The title spawned 2 sequels, both incredible games in their own right. In this series, you explore a haunted mansion and search for Mario, who has gone missing. Yeah, that's right. The man who always saves the princess can't seem to get himself out of a mansion. So he has to call in his trusty partner in crime, Luigi, for some help. Luigi's Mansion gives us a great look at the more forgotten about Super Mario character, and certainly helps the series as a whole find itself in the number 11 spot on our ranking. 10. Pikmin. Now we are getting into the top 10, the cream of the crop. Starting off the top half of this ranking is the Pikmin series. First released in 2001, the Pikmin series has brought us 4 titles to date, all following the same strategy and puzzle game formula that made the original so great. Kicking off with the main character Olimar crash landing on an unknown planet, you begin to befriend the adorable and durable creatures known as Pikmin. This series offers a compelling plot, which couples with the unique puzzle aspect to make Pikmin among Nintendo's greatest franchises. Your goal is to fulfill the quest to recover your lost ship parts, and along the way you encounter a few bumps. Each of these bumps is one of those typical Pikmin puzzles, in which you will need to devise a plan that involves using all the different colored Pikmin in order to solve the puzzle and reach your next destination. Sure, this game was pretty difficult for us when we played back in the day on the GameCube, while we were still in the single digits of age. But isn't that what makes this series so great? The difficulty of these titles makes it that much more satisfying when you get through those puzzles, and eventually complete the story and wait for Pikmin 4. Oh yeah, that's right. We're still waiting for Pikmin 4. I mean, it will happen one day, right? 9. Fire Emblem. Coming in at number 9 is truly one of the more underrated series in all of gaming. And to be honest, we here at Game Domain really haven't played this series' vast arrays of titles as much as we should have. Consisting of 16 games dating all the way back to 1990, Fire Emblem has long been a staple in the Nintendo gaming community. These games take place in a medieval-type setting focusing on the tactical RPG genre. The series gives players a tactical experience, while at the same time giving them a connection with the individual characters. Most tactical strategy games have no real characters with emotional value, but the Fire Emblem series gives us so many memorable characters, the most iconic of which appearing as fighters in the Super Smash Bros. Series, such as Marth and Roy. The series brings a vast array of unique aspects of combat, especially for a strategy-based game, the main of which being the iconic Weapon Triangle. The Weapon Triangle shows the peak greatness of the series' combat, as it presents a perfect trio dynamic between types of weapons, defenses, and magic. The Fire Emblem series is one that us at Game Domain really need to delve into a bit more, but we still have recognized its greatness as the Fire Emblem series finds itself as our 9th ranked Nintendo franchise. 8. Star Fox. Do a barrel roll! Yes, that's right, we just went back in time to one of the earliest gaming memes, as the Star Fox series is barreling into the number 8 spot on our ranking of Nintendo franchises. Since its inception in 1993, the Star Fox series has been arguably one of Nintendo's most consistently intriguing storylines, as well as arguably its most consistent shooting title. The idea of launching a brand new flagship franchise that entailed violence in the form of space shooting, many Nintendo fans became skeptical of Nintendo moving away from the playful, child-friendly titles like Super Mario and The Legend of Zelda and into the genre of warfare. But little did these fans know that Star Fox would essentially become a Star Wars-esque shooter, an intense space fantasy with incredible blaster combat and spaceships. I mean, who doesn't love a good spaceship game? The original Star Fox brought along a groundbreaking initiative in the world of game development, holding the title as one of the first accelerated 3D gaming experiences on a home console. We all of course know that this 3D experience was nothing like the real and perfected 3D gameplay we saw in Super Mario 64 and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time just a few years later. But the original Star Fox was pretty groundbreaking in its own right. The Star Fox series really advanced its popularity in the gaming world with the release of Star Fox 64, giving us one of the most immersive 3D shooter experiences of its time. The character development in this series is arguably its greatest accomplishment, as it has given us a slew of memorable characters ranging from the legendary Fox McCloud to Falco to Wolf and of course Peppy Hare. Tasked with taking down the workings of the main villain Andross, the Star Fox team works to protect and expand peace across their galaxy, on planets such as Corneria and Lylat, both of which also served as fantastic stages in the Super Smash Bros. Series. Yes, I know, we keep referring to appearances in Smash, but I mean, if you make it into Smash, you gotta be pretty good and popular. Star Fox series is one of Nintendo's more forgotten about and lesser known flagship franchises, but its greatness has been recognized by us as the 8th ranked Nintendo franchise. 7. Animal Crossing. Wow, it's really gonna hurt putting this series in the 7th spot. A lot of you guys are gonna get mad at us in the comments, but the reality is that this series is just not better than the 6 we have in front of it. For a franchise with such a small amount of releases, just 5 releases over 19 years, Animal Crossing has captivated the hearts of millions of fans for almost 2 decades. For a game that almost serves as a social experiment of if a human were to live in an animal's world, the Animal Crossing series offers players a beautifully crafted world of peace and delicacy that serves as a relaxing experience for people of all ages. I, the writer, have been a die-hard fan of the series since Wild World, and we at Game Domain truly envy how such a kid-friendly title has the ability to reel in die-hard fans of all ages. For a game that revolves around the idea that a human is living among a world of animals, the series is actually fairly realistic in relation to our real-world struggles. The series gameplay really hits you with a whiff of reality, as you have to go through most everything that backcountry American folks would have to endure on a daily basis. You have to purchase a house, which you can update to an endless amount, maintain the town, pick food, make money to purchase goods, and so many other real-life aspects. The real-life experience mainly stems from the game's constant and direct correlation to the real-life clock and events. All holidays, even your birthday, are celebrated in the series, and the townsfolk and businesses follow a strict schedule that matches up identically with the daily schedule in real life. This immersive and realistic experience encourages players to play for a little bit each day rather than grind the game for multiple hours a day and stop playing in a few weeks. The series was initially designed to be played for about an hour each day for an extended period of time, and that notion has certainly held up all the way up until the most recent release on the Nintendo Switch, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. With the complexity that the real world throws at us on a daily basis, it's always a wonderfully soothing experience to sit down and enter the world of Animal Crossing. It matches the time of the real world, but eliminates all the bad that we have going on in our lives. When you load up an Animal Crossing title, all the negatives seem to disappear, and you go into your happy place, the life of a human among animals. Animal Crossing is one of my personal favorite franchises of all time, and for this video, we're objectively ranking it as Nintendo's 7th best franchise. 6. Kirby. Okay, we're going to give you some descriptive words and think about what you see. Pink, round, little pinkish feet, more pink, puffing up when he breathes in. Now what do you see? Kirby is one of Nintendo's most iconic characters, infamously recognized as the perfectly round little ball of cuteness that is seen all over Nintendo promotional material, as well as a very soft plush. The Kirby series was first shown off to us diehard fans back in 1993 with the release of Kirby's Dream Land. At the time of the game's announcement, many frowned upon the fact that the game seemed like an attempt to build off the success of the Super Mario platforming series, and that this new Kirby series couldn't replicate the greatness of Super Mario. And we just have one thing to say to those initial doubters. Wow, you were wrong. Kirby took that platforming genre that already seemed cliché and completely revolutionized it, turning it into a strong narrative experience with one of gaming's most unique characters. Kirby always sacrifices himself on a quest to save his home planet, Planet Popstar. Whether he has help or not, Kirby always manages to take down his enemies and make fans fall in love with his every movement. Kirby's set of abilities and powers are completely unique to the series itself and character, and the uniqueness of the series is one of its defining positive qualities. Kirby is also one of the greatest characters in the entire video game universe, as really nothing can compare in similarities to the pink ball of fluff that has served as one of Nintendo's flagship characters for nearly 3 decades. The Kirby games span across such a variety of Nintendo consoles, as the series has appeared in some form or another on every single Nintendo console released since 1992. This vast array of consoles that you can play Kirby on makes the game so widely beloved and popular among gaming fans, and spreads the series' unique awesomeness to just about every Nintendo fan in the world. Kirby has given us so much fun over the past 3 decades, and it finds itself as our 6th ranked Nintendo franchise. 5. Metroid. Now this next entry is probably going to be when most of the angry comments will start piling up. When we made this list, we set out to define each of these series by their greatness, or the combined quality of each of the individual games in the series. In a way, the way the list shaped out still did follow the pattern of popularity that we expected, because it is just human nature to look at something that is popular as good, even if it isn't. But this next entry completely shakes up the list, as this series isn't really that incredibly popular among the community as a whole, especially in comparison to the others on this list. But the games in the series are all among the best in the entire world of Nintendo. So coming in as the 5th ranked Nintendo franchise is the Metroid series. Metroid has been around for nearly 35 years and has given us so many fantastic titles. This series has multiple titles that rank among Nintendo's greatest games of all time, and the Metroid Prime series is one of the strongest narratives in all of Nintendo. Metroid is another space-type shooter game like Star Fox, but this one is just done completely different. What started off as a 2D side-scrolling shooter turned into Nintendo's greatest shooting game with the release of the original Metroid Prime on GameCube, completely revolutionizing the franchise and turning it into one of Nintendo's most popular and successful. You play as Samus Aran, who is really a pretty rogue being in and of herself, with very little other competent beings to help her. Nintendo's most badass female protagonist takes everything into her own hands and tries to bring peace across the galaxy. The Metroid series is one of the most critically acclaimed series of all time, and one that more Nintendo fans should really get a hold of. Hopefully we can get the actual release of Metroid Prime 4 sometime within the next 2 years, spreading the world of Metroid out into the hands of the new younger generation of Nintendo fans. We talked in depth about the Metroid series in our Metroid documentary, which we will leave a link for in the description, so be sure to go and check that out. Metroid has brought us plenty of exciting space adventures since 1986, and the series morphs its way into the 5th spot on our ranking of Nintendo franchises. 4. Super Smash Bros. This next spot is going to be a great one. Pretty fitting that we go right from talking about Samus Aran into talking about the series that can be arguably credited for really catapulting her into popularity, the Super Smash Bros. Series. Smash is something that has always been near and dear to our hearts here at Game Domain, as I myself have been a diehard fan of the series since my brothers picked up a copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee on release day, just over a month after the launch of the Nintendo GameCube. Super Smash Bros. Has always been the series that provided a family or a group of friends with a wonderful competitive experience and brings people together while also destroying your relationships with friends after they just constantly charge up Jigglypuff's roll-out attack and knock you off the stage to your death. In what is dubbed as the greatest crossover game series of all time, Super Smash Bros. Brings together all of the greatest Nintendo characters and puts them into one arena. On this list so far, you've heard the likes of Kirby, Metroid, Star Fox, Donkey Kong, and Yoshi. Super Smash Bros. Takes all of those amazing franchises that we have ranked in this video and brings them together under the same roof, all into one fantastic arena. Super Smash Bros. Has created one of the most popular brands of competitive video gaming in all of gaming history, with millions of fans from around the world competing against each other via online matches, family or friendly gatherings, and tournaments hosted all around the world, in places that range from local churches to basketball arenas. The gaming world is always captivated at the announcement of a new Super Smash Bros. Game, as the hype and build-up to the launch of the most recent installment, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch, was arguably the most anticipated of any single video game title in the history of Nintendo. The Super Smash Bros. Series brings Nintendo fans from all corners of the community together, as there are characters that just about everybody can enjoy. Super Smash Bros. Still has very much built-up hype hung over from Ultimate back in 2018, but the series as a whole will always be judged as one of Nintendo's greatest, and Super Smash Bros. Finds itself as the 4th ranked Nintendo franchise. 3. Pokemon. No. It just kills every bone in not only my gaming body, but my body itself to put this franchise this low on the list. As much as I would love to put my favorite franchise of all time in the number 1 spot on this ranking, I have to take out my bias and place the Pokemon franchise as the 3rd ranked Nintendo franchise. Pokemon is just amazing. An expansive universe that spans across 8 regions, nearly 900 Pokemon that are all unique in and of themselves, hundreds of developed characters, beautiful gameplay, graphics, battling style, and beautiful music. Pokemon does every single thing right, bringing us some of the most unique and interesting content of any game that we've ever seen. When initially released, the idea of the Pokemon series seemed incredibly outlandish, but then people actually got their hands on the original Red and Blue, and then on every single incredible title since then. Every new journey that we've gotten over the past 24 years has given us more greatness, with brand new regions, brand new rosters of Pokemon, and services that allowed us to connect all of our adventures from the past. Pokemon has always stressed the idea of attachment and emotional appeal to each individual Pokemon, making them feel more like real-life creaturistic members of your family rather than a bunch of coding in a video game. And the Pokemon series has something that really no other series has, and that is the ability to transfer your Pokemon all the way through to the present day, ensuring that those Pokemon will always be with you through the remainder of history. Pokemon allows you to take your very first Pokemon back from when Ruby and Sapphire released in 2003 and transfer it through each new generation, all the way to the new Pokemon Home service on the Nintendo Switch. This series offers its fans and diehard players just so much, allowing tens of millions of people from all over the world to be connected through this wonderful loving of Pokemon, bonded in their individual quest to be the greatest Pokemon master that ever lived. Pokemon has birthed countless childhood friendships and brought people from all walks of life together. The series has also given us plenty of other content, such as the world-famous Pokemon trading card game, the Pokemon anime, and even an era of gaming known as when Pokemon ruled the world. Whether you were given a pack of Pokemon cards for Christmas back when you were 5, went to go pick up Pokemon Gold and Silver on release day, saw the old rack of Game Boy Advance cartridges in your local GameStop and decided to pick up Pokemon Sapphire, ordered yourself a copy of Pokemon Platinum off eBay, had a friend lend you a copy of Pokemon Black, picked up Pokemon Y on sale at Best Buy, gifted Pokemon Sun for Christmas on your birthday, or even if you just got into the series with Pokemon Sword and Shield. This series has something for everyone. Pokemon is nothing short of purely perfect, and has been such a massive part of millions of lives in every single corner of its earth, and it finds itself as our 3rd ranked Nintendo franchise. 2. Super Mario. Oh. Well, the placement of the 2 franchises within the top 2 are going to rile up a lot of you fans, and we are certainly going to get hundreds of angry comments the instant we announce this franchise as the 2 spot. But you know what? We set out to make this video the best possible way we could. We were unbiased, honest, and rated these franchises on the collective greatness of each individual game in the series. Not if the series sells the best, because then the Wii Series would be number 1. Not if the series is the most popular, because then Pokemon would be number 1. But rather we graded each of these franchises on their pure greatness and how good the games are. And that is how we came to this conclusion. So please, feel free to voice your opinions in the comments, but refrain from personally attacking our staff here at Game Domain for our opinions. And with that said, the 2nd ranked Nintendo franchise is Super Mario. As Nintendo's flagship franchise since its inception in 1985, Super Mario has been the gaming world's most iconic name for over 3 decades, a pioneer in the platforming industry. The Super Mario series has brought so much joy into our worlds for all of these years, bringing us incredible title after incredible title. Starting off with the original Super Mario Bros., a game that is still played avidly by fans today and has been revered ever since its release, to one of its sequels, Super Mario Bros. 3, which is highly regarded as one of the greatest single Nintendo titles of all time, to the groundbreaking and revolutionary Super Mario 64, and to the most recent mainline Super Mario title, Super Mario Odyssey. This series has brought a plentiful of individual great titles and has revolutionized the gaming industry time and time again, not to mention the impact the series and its games have had on other facets of Nintendo, as this franchise is responsible for two other franchises that we showed off here on this list, Yoshi and Luigi. Super Mario has also inspired thousands of game companies and game developers into creating their own platforming titles. Don't get us wrong, platforming as a genre was around before Super Mario, but it was certainly the Super Mario series being the reason it has endured. And not only did Super Mario revolutionize the platforming industry for decades to come, but it also revolutionized the 3D gaming industry, helping along with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time to bring about new findings in 3D gaming technology that has led directly to all of the wonderful games we got today. When you're so successful in the realm of platforming titles, why would you move the series to another genre? But hey, Nintendo took the chance and brought Super Mario into a realistic-looking 3D experience with the release of Super Mario 64. Yet another title that finds itself as one of Nintendo's best, as we even ranked the game as our second greatest Nintendo game of all time, revolutionizing the gaming world at the time. Super Mario 64 pioneered 3D technology and led to millions of 3D games that have followed suit. The Super Mario franchise has always ranked among the best that gaming has to offer, and it finds itself as the second ranked Nintendo franchise of all time. What could number 1 be? 1. The Legend of Zelda. Ah, beautiful, serene, elegant, and magical. The world of Hyrule has just about everything that an open-world game would need to have, bringing us some of the greatest games of the past 30 years with every single release. That's right, we are crowning the Legend of Zelda franchise as our greatest Nintendo franchise of all time. Overshadowed by the popularity of Super Smash Bros., Pokemon, and Super Mario, The Legend of Zelda is just the greatest that this company has to offer. No other series has so many games so revered by all facets of the gaming industry. Revered by developers, revered by critics, and most importantly, revered by you, the fans. Ever since the original Legend of Zelda back in 1986, it seems like every title just makes the series as a whole even better. When naming the greatest Nintendo games of all time in a definitive list, more times than not, there are at least 3 Legend of Zelda titles that appear on just about everyone's rankings. The Legend of Zelda gives us title after title of expansive open-world universe, with one of the gaming world's most iconic storylines, most open worlds to explore, and just overall greatest titles there is to offer. The Legend of Zelda franchise's true greatness truly birthed with 1991's A Link to the Past, which is highly regarded as a top 5 or top 10 Nintendo game of all time, and one of gaming's greatest titles in the pre-3D gaming era. A Link to the Past was followed up by the likes of Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword, and the most recent, Breath of the Wild. Each of these games were another step forward into the greatness that The Legend of Zelda has achieved, peaking with the revolutionary Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time alone is enough to get this franchise into the top 10 on this list. While Super Mario 64 pioneered 3D gameplay, Ocarina of Time mastered it. Hyrule was always just a name, essentially a background of the 2D adventure we had enjoyed for 12 years, but Ocarina of Time took what was just a name and transformed it into a world, a true place that felt like a home of sorts, a mystical kingdom. With each subsequent title, we've gotten a deeper look into the world of Hyrule and its ever-expanding land. This all culminated in the Hyrule that we got in 2017's Breath of the Wild, showing us the most massive open-world experience of any title in Nintendo history. Breath of the Wild gives players hundreds of hours worth of incredible content, quests to fulfill, and a unique plot that we had never gotten a glimpse of before. The Legend of Zelda franchise is one that is founded in quality, not quantity. As much as I love Pokemon, and as much as I love Super Mario, It seems like we get a new title of these games basically every single year. Some of those games are great, and then others are fairly lackluster. But The Legend of Zelda takes a few years in between games, crafting every single game with the perfect amount of creativity and ingenuity that ensures we are getting the greatest title possible. This series has given us everything over the past 30 years, and we even still have so much more greatness to look forward to in the near future, with the release of the direct sequel to Breath of the Wild within the next year or two. The Legend of Zelda is just, well, perfect. There's no other way to put it. But this series is just a ride of constant greatness, with very few kinks or bruises. Hyrule may just be a figment of our internal gaming imagination, but the impact that the series has had on the lives of tens of millions of fans around the world is certainly not imaginary. Thank you, Nintendo, for giving us this wonderful series, the series that we are ranking as the greatest Nintendo franchise of all time. Wow, that video sure was awesome to make. Another bucket list video down, and there are still plenty more to go, so don't worry. Tell us what you thought of today's video down in the comment section below, and feel free to give us your ranking of the Nintendo franchises. Don't forget to click subscribe and leave a like on today's video, as well as check out some of our recent uploads. Make sure you also check out the links in the description, as there you will find the link to our Patreon and to join our Discord. Join our Discord to connect with our staff here at the channel, as well as participate in the great Domain Legion content we have going on there. We would once again like to thank all of you guys for your incredible support, and thanks for watching today's video. We'll see you next time.
No! Not into the pit! It burns!